Please, everybody, give it up for Ruth.
Ruth!
Hey!
Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Welcome, honey. Yay!
We're excited.
I feel good because I saw you a little on Friday, and then I saw you yesterday on Sammy's socialathon, and now I get to see you again, and so I'm feeling a little like we're spending time together again.
Yes, it feels good to know that you're in the room.
I am in the room. I am in the room. So today, Ruth is going to share with us some very strategic sectioning, some fast, hot tips for when we go back post-COVID. And is there anything, Ruth, that you want to say to the community that's watching? We've got people showing you some love. Susan Bentley's like, woohoo, Ruth. Somebody loves Madonna behind you, by the way, Alfredo.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do too. I love
that. Lots of hearts, lots of hands up, lots of clapping, lots of love for you, Ruthie. So what do you want to say to this amazing audience that's watching today?
Well, when you were going over the 5 things, I was taking notes. And I think about what, I think the most important thing for me is why we would do what we do. And through all the challenges that we're going to have going back into, or people that are already back into the world of the salon, is why do we do it? Yeah. And I teach and share stuff with hairdressers because I want people to be able to relax behind the chair and just do hair and not have to think about what am I doing? Why am I da-da-da? I want people to relax and enjoy the experience as an artist, So that's one of you made me think of that. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, Ruth.
But anything that I just want to share as much as I can in the next little bit with you guys on, quick ways to get to an end result. I'm going to be working with dry hair cutting, which a lot of us are going to be doing. And just some tips on how to get, there's a million ways to do a long layered haircut. There's a million ways to cut a bob. And I'm going to share with you a way. It's not the only way, but it's a way that you can go.
Yeah, you know what? And I love that because things resonate with different people. Different things resonate with different people, right? So I was on the socialathon. For those of you that missed it, you can go to Sam Via's YouTube page and you can watch the whole 11 something hours. It's all on there. But I was on from morning all the way until the bitter end. I only missed a little to take Houndy on a WALK and to eat and to take some technical breaks, if you will. But what I loved is that there were some repetitive things, certainly, but I loved just the approach and looking at things from a different angle and then making it our own, right? So I can't wait to see what you have to share with us.
Cool. Yeah, and even if it's one little thing, yesterday I also was watching all day. Oh, look who's coming.
Her color's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Oh, her color was done by George Garcia. So, yeah.
Gorgeous
Beautiful
work, George, right?
Yeah. Love working with George. Okay. There we go. So this is my model, and she has a long layered haircut. And I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of layers, different ways, similar ways, like you just said. I'm going to share with you one way to get here, and it's very, very quick. So I wanted to show you one that's finished with wave in the hair. But
beautiful.
You can also, and you see where the links are sitting here in the front. Sorry, I'm still getting used to everything being the opposite. There we go. So it's got a nice, almost like a curtain-y fringe, but it's a face framing situation. So I'm going to start with that. We'll bring her back. And I want to show you the sectioning of how this is going to go. So basically, you can see that we've got the fringe. Sorry, there's a delay. There we go.
No,
okay.
Really good.
There's the high point of the head is back here, right?
Yeah.
So here is where the fringe area sits. And that's just after the bevel of the head changes, the surface of the head changes. So we've got our fringe area, we've got our 2 sides, and then we've got our 3 bevels in the back. Okay, so it's a vertical breakdown of the head. And in the fringe area, we've got 3 sections. So a little teeny tiny triangle, and then that gives us our 2 side sections of the fringe area. So those are the sections of the haircut. I'm going to be working dry, so I'm just going to cut each section as I go and section it off, as opposed to cutting the whole thing. I mean, sectioning the whole thing and then cutting it. And also, when we're cutting dry, right, we want to make sure that we don't mark the hair. So I'm using my Sammy Via dry cutting clips, which are great for not marking the hair, because it's drag if you have done a nice blowout to then ruin it with clips. So we're going to start with a section right in the center. Excuse me. And this is where you get to decide what length you want to do. So I'm going to bring her. If I'm here, you can see that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring her down so that I can elevate the hair. And what we're going to do is work with a layer that sits right around the jaw. So when that lifts up and it moves to the side, it's going to still be longish, but it's not going to be a long layer that has no volume on the sides. So I'm going to comb the hair up and get ready, and it's going to sit at about the chin, like I said. So I'm just eyeballing that, combing the hair up. So I'm elevating the hair at 45 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is point cut. So I'm just going to turn my hands because my fingers are on the angle, and I'm going to point cut that. Now I know this is probably too long, but I'm a safety gal. Not really. I think I am, but I have a lot of accidents. Okay. Now that we've got that bulk of the length off, I'm going to go in and just take a little bit more. Show you how that looks. So it's not super short, but it's not big chicken long either. It's somewhere in between. You know what I mean? When you're afraid to layer. So this is going for it. Stand by. And both sides of the section I'm combing to the center of the triangle. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is go and take our next section, which goes to the fringe area. So that's going to start right about here. And then we're going to work down to I don't know what this bone is called, but this one right here. I've heard ocular, but I don't know if I believe that's a real word.
It sounds like a real word.
It
sounds very scientific.
I'm going to say yes.
Ocular.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's the ocular bone. And so if you look at her from the front, right, our section's getting wider. So I'm going to be doing the same thing on both sides, but I'm going to show you the view here. And basically what I'm going to do is just cut one side at a time. So basically I'm just cutting half of this section. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking notes, Ruth.
Okay. Yeah. There'll be a test at the end. Now I'm going to take the other side. And if you look from the front, I'm making sure that I'm combing them both together in the center.
Ah.
Hey, lady. Okay, here we go. I'm going in. Turning my hand. And that's just, obviously you want to stay far from your fingers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're cutting dry, you can do that because it stands away. So you can see how here, even that in itself would be a cute front to a bob, where you could then just cut your line in. So now the next section is going to go from the high point to the back of the ear. So that's a pretty big section, and that's how we want it to be. We like big sections. And most people don't have this much density on their sides, right? So you're going to end up I just went into my hair spaceship. You guys have hair spaceships where you're in the middle of a sentence and then you're like, who are you? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, are you saying air spaceship?
Hair spaceship.
I
You
just
go
have
into your
air. I just
hair.
have air spaceships where
Yeah, I was gonna
I'll be
say,
talking and then
yeah.
I'll be like, wait, what? And then John Stellato inevitably used to say to me, you were the only one talking. I'm like, yeah, and I'm not making any sense.
I know. So there's my guide. And I'm just going to connect it in. Same guide. But you can see it's a very chunky guide.
We have a couple questions, Ruth. One is, can you also use the high point of the eyebrows as a sectioning guide for the fringe?
You can, and that section, thank you for that question.
It's Franz.
Franz, thank you. You can for sure use that point, especially when you've got someone with a different bone structure. So the size of that first section really shouldn't go past the outer part of the eye, okay? Because you want it to just frame the face. You don't want it taking too much weight out of the side. So the size of that section, right, is going to depend on the bone structure and looking at natural fall, and making that call based on that.
Okay. And
cool.
Then do the sections go to the high point?
Not in the
yeah, in the back they do, Lindsay. In the front it goes to what would you say? Like right where the head changes shape, you said.
Yes.
Right?
So you mean the fringe?
Yeah.
The fringe is here. You get all the way. And then the high point is back from that about 2 inches. So if you find the high point, you go to where the curve is, and that's where your fringe starts.
Nice. And then the last question is mine, which is for the point cutting, because often you see people point cut and it ends up looking quite even, if you will, whereas this seems like you're going a bit deeper in some cases and a bit more shallow in others. Am I seeing that correctly when I'm looking at it? And is there a reason why?
What I'm doing is, thank you for that, Sherry. I'm looking for density. So if it's thicker and darker, I'm going to curve my fingers and get in there more and take more of that hair out. And if it's thinner or more see-through, then I want to create a textural blend. So I'm not going to go in deep on the thin part, but I'll go in deeper on the thick part. And then it makes them friends. So they behave similarly and they look more uniform as opposed to, scrawny on the bottom.
Excellent. So, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm just going to now go into the back. And what that's going to be is 3 sections. So if we go back to our dolly, those are the back sections. Super simple. So I'm going to start with the center back, and it goes up to the point we just cut. So I'm going to take, and what the section that we're going to take goes to the back corner of the head, right? So it goes to where we've got this scary area where there's not much hair behind the ear.
Yes.
And there's our back corner. So we're going to do the same thing on both sides. So it's a pretty big section, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. And what we're doing is we're really only cutting from the occipital up. So whatever your length is here is going to be safe. Then what I'm going to do is comb it straight up. And I'm going to find my guide from the front section. So I'm just picking up a little piece there. Am I too close?
I can see.
Where the hell's the guide? There it is. Okay, and I'm just going to point cut that. Now, to your point, Sherry, I'm staying close to the ends, and I'm not going in deep here because look how sheer it is.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so we want to.
And you're doing a horizontal finger angle?
Yes, thank you for that. So I switched. Now, if we had hair that was even longer than this, we could comb the hair forward and wrap it, do slowing graduation. We could slide cut from the same point. So we could have the same front and a different back that's much longer. So you just are going to adjust your finger angle to do that, or your cutting angle with slide cutting or razor cutting. And you could definitely do this with the razor too, on wet hair. So the thing that's fun about doing dry hair is you get to, it's like instant gratification, right? Now each section is coming straight up from where it lives. There's no over direction to the center. If you look where I am now, I'm at the back of the ear on this side. Let me just get this out of the way. Excuse my back. So here we are here. And each section only connects to that center point. You don't have to worry about connecting it with the previous section. Does that make sense?
Yep. Are you going to cut the length? Did you cut the length before or?
No, I'm going to do it after. Thank you for that. So we can do it before or after. If you do it before, then you know exactly where you're at. And you can always leave out your perimeter, like even here on the sides. Drop that out when you're cutting the sides if you want to work with a longer perimeter than this. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
If you're with me, say yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Lindsay says she loves it. It's so simple.
So
So she's
simple.
with you too.
Super simple. And that's, sometimes we can get complicated. I can get very complicated because I'm like, weird like that. So it, see, even here, look at that.
Yeah, it's thin.
You can even go blunt here because
Right.
that is still got more texture than the you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's just a matter of cutting the perimeter, however you want to see it. You can see the lines of the layers there on the side.
Yeah. Looks great.
So good, Ruth.
There.
Yeah,
Okay.
so good.
So let's do the perimeter. Do I have time? No, I don't have time. Do I have to do the perimeter?
You don't have to do the perimeter.
Let's do it really quick.
Yeah.
You have time though.
You have time, honey.
Well, I'm going to do something else, I thought.
Okay.
But maybe I won't be.
You have time.
Okay. I can show you too what I did. All right. So what's nice about that, going back to your question about cutting the length first, when you come up and you're just working from the occipital, you're going to cut to that length. That's the very, very last piece. So you would cut what reaches the bottom and then cut your angle from there.
Nice. We have our friend Ali is in the house and he says that it's beautiful. I agree.
Oh my goodness.
And
It's
Ruth,
you're doing pretty good. You're upright still.
yeah,
It's a miracle.
you're doing really good.
For those of you that are joining and have never seen Ruth before, she tends to, whether it's live or live on camera, she tends to, what would you say, Ruth? Have accidents. Yes.
I do. I'm accident prone. Now I'm getting the hair out of the way.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
So what I'm going to do now is use some One United, which is a great cutting lotion. I've already, just so you know, in her hair, I've blowed it dry with Guts 10, which is a volume foam. And the reason for that is to get that hold in there and to get that memory in there. So what we can do now, if you are, as you're cutting, is work with a cutting lotion, One United in this case, just to get that stiffness out of the hair from blow drying it. And I've heard a few people doing this, and I think it's awesome. And I'm going to do it because I want my clients. I don't want to blow dry my clients necessarily. And I mean, I want to, but maybe I shouldn't. That's what I meant to say. But forgot what I was saying. I was looking at the haircut. So there she is.
Yeah, she looks great.
Finished.
Really great.
Here's the wave version.
Wow.
Nice.
So it's the same haircut, just different color, different lengths, and so on.
Yeah. So Ruth, I have a question because I mean, obviously I have some experience with Ruth. For those that are watching, when I had short hair, she used to she used to give me extensions actually. And she was the first one who taught me. I was always a little bit, I would say, timid of using a curling iron on my hair because I felt like, oh God, it takes so long. But you taught me how to basically do like 5 sections with a curling iron, and it would look basically like that. So can you just give a little hot tips or tell people how you approach that? Because I think if they come in with dry hair, if we're not going to blow dry, but we still want them to leave with a good, cool look, we could just take an iron to it really quickly.
Yes. Yeah? Yep. And one of the things, it's on one of the videos, I believe, this is a really fast way, is to take and separate out the back. You can even just separate the 2 sides out. I'll just show you the technique really quick. So let's say you've cut the back. You can even cut, get this happening. Sides out of the way, and then just take this entire section, heat it up with the blow dryer, use some iron shape or a heat protection with hold in it. This is what I use. And then twist it. So see how I'm not down here at the nape, I'm kind of at the occipital. Mm-hmm. When you twist it, you're just going to create a round bun. Keep the ends smooth, and then put a clip into it. I use these duckbill thingies, and stick one end into the bun and then back, almost like you would a bobby pin, and then push the pin in. And then what you can do while that's in and cooling off, because you heated it up with the blow dryer, is literally put like 2 sections in here and just curl them with the iron. Boom, boom. Mm-hmm. 1, 2.
Mm-hmm. So let's say you're not using a hair dryer though. In the back, I mean, this sounds weird. Could you take all of it and just sort of heat it up with the curling iron and, and wrap it?
Yeah, I'm going to do a pretend iron because I don't have one.
Yeah, no problem.
I do, but that's
okay.
A project.
No, this works.
So what you could do is take your whole section.
Or even a flat iron. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you used a regular iron, you wouldn't be straightening the hair out because you don't want to do that. If you used a regular curling iron, you could just heat it up with the side of the iron, heat it up under here, underneath, put it through the iron like one time, like this, one big section, and then twist it.
Nice.
So you don't need a lot of it. Yeah, you just want to put some motion in it. You don't need a lot of wave,
Yeah.
It won't give you a lot of wave, but it'll give you a natural kind of lived-in look.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Woohoo! Excellent.
Love it.
So,
all right, what else you got?
I don't know. Do we have time?
You have time.
You cut me off when it's time.
Okay.
Just get the hook. Okay, so this is, when you look at her, one side is finished with a little bit of texture, one side is just smooth. And when you look at that, it looks blunt, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
looks like a blunt one-leg bob. When you look at this side where it's been set a little bit, you can see how much texture it has.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a really quick, also dry haircut. Where I've taken 3 sections. Well, it's 4 sections, but down this, a horseshoe section on the top, and then in the back, right above the part of the occipital that stands out the most, so just above the occipital bone, and then a section that goes down towards the jawline. So this section here coming down like that.
Right.
So that gives you a bigger nape area than a regular nape. But it also leaves some hair here to fall down and fill in the scary area, or the scaria, which I call
the scaria.
The scaria. So the first, and I've cut half of this already, and if we don't get to the whole thing, it'll make sense, but I will explain it. So
awesome.
Here we go. So the first section is just above the occipital, so we can find that by laying the comb in there. Where it comes up, there's the highest point, and then just above that part that stands out, we're going to go in and take the section so it goes towards the jawline. Cool?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, and now what I'm going to do is take diagonals within it, and we're going to cut the texture first and then the perimeter. So texture goes in. I'm going to weave through with the shears. And I'm going to talk with the shears, not closing them all the way, from short to long. So what we're doing is causing the hair to move. We're removing the weight and making it skinnier at the bottom. But we're not going to lose any of that bluntness because we're going to do our perimeter second. So that's basically getting that texture out. And then Alfredo, I think you commented on this.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So what we're going to do now is go in. Let me just get her up a little bit. I charged them, so hopefully they're not going to go wonky on me. Are you straight, lady? Okay, so here we go. They're making me dizzy.
No?
Going in. Okay. Now, what I like to do as I go is work with another product I like to work with for dry cutting is Pillow Proof from Redken, and this is a primer for blow drying. You got to shake it first, but it just has a little bit. I like the amount of tactileness it gives you, and I'm just going to push that down and just coax it into position a little bit. Next section is going to go all the way up to the horseshoe. So it's a big section. Stand by. Hold, please. There we go. So same thing here, because this is still the underneath of the haircut, right? The top section is still going to fall over that. So bring it back down to an area where it can work. And I'm going to take a diagonal section and just work in that midsection now. And just like highlighting, you can take big chunks out. You can take little baby lights like this. You want to take less out, you could use your blending shears. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this based on the amount of weight you want to take out and the amount of density of the hair that you're working on. Now, as you get into the side, most people don't have this much hair on the side, so I wouldn't even do this on the side. But because she has a ton, she needs it. And you can see I'm staying within this area. Mm-hmm. I'm not starting way down here because we're going to cut that off. So if I put all the texture at the ends, it's a waste of time. Right. So we're staying in the area where we want to see that texture, which is right in here. And using the clippers is a nice, quick way to get a line in there, right?
So satisfying. I love the clippers.
Oh my God, I know. That's why you like the sound of it so much, huh?
Yeah, I knew. I was hoping that's what you were going to do. So, yes. I was
Oh, man.
Ruth, I do have a question for you. You talked about, because I agree with you. You said it earlier about...
I can hear you.
Okay, good. More people cutting hair dry, you know, in this new normal, going back to the salons and than wet. As somebody who cutting is not my number one specialty, and I normally was cutting wet, did you always cut more dry, or is it something that you're pivoting into is the first part of my question? And the second part of my question is, what tips do you have for people like me that don't cut as much dry, that cut more wet, of, you know, to not make mistakes and to be, you know, a little bit aware of, because it's definitely a different animal.
It is different.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is you can see exactly what the hair's doing, right? And how it's going to live. So sometimes when you're working with wet hair, especially if it's a new guest, you're guessing, right? Where it's going to end up or that kind of thing. So I feel like with dry hair, you can see exactly what you're going to get as you go, which is awesome. But the tips are for me, like especially working here, no tension at all when you're cutting a blunt line, you know, to cut it either freehand or through the wide teeth of the comb so that you can see exactly what you're doing and you're not disturbing that hair at all. And also to, like, if your guest comes in and their blow dry is a little janky, you know, to hit it with the flat iron a couple times, you know, just to get those weird things out of it before you start to cut. So, and like I'm doing as I go, I'm moistening, is that a word? Moistening the sections with a little bit of product. So as I'm up here,
giving it a little bit of slip.
Yes, and a little bit of coaxability. You know, you can coax it into place so it doesn't look so stick straight. So you can see how it's important to keep the sections diagonal because then as this falls down, everything covers itself. So here we go. Going in. You don't want to go too close to the scalp on this one, especially on the surface, because you want to be able to, and I'm going to drop out that perimeter. You want to be able to not have it stand up. Just going to do one little piece there.
So Lindsay's asking if it's easier to cut the length after because you can have the room to do the texture first.
That's a great point, Lindsay. Yes, because you're holding on the hair and you're far away from where you're cutting, and you're cutting like in here. So if you had your length, you wouldn't be able to get in. It would slip out of your fingers more, you know, and you can't slide, which is the fun part. And you got to have fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you can see how fast that is.
Yeah, that's great.
Is it even? It's a little longer on this side. Is it? Whatever, you get the idea.
I think she looks great.
Yeah, I love it. I actually like that it has a little bit of
something.
Yeah.
So it's just, it looks like a one-length bob, right? But it has so much texture and movement in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can do it just where it needs it. So if someone's got a skinny nape already and they have 4 hairs there, skip the nape and go up to the midsection, you know, or just do it on the top. And it's a great thing to do on the top of a long layer, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, and just to show you, if I'll show you one section of how I created that wave on the blonde, is just bending the hair and literally flat ironing it in an area so that when it, well, you have to have the iron on. Oh, for God's sake. Never mind. This is what I did. So I did this, boom, boom, boom. And then the next one I would take it and do the opposite way, or even do a bend here and then a bend on this part here. And you get that texture.
Even though it wasn't hot, Ruth, it was so clear by what you just showed.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I totally got it because I'm gonna try that actually. I like that you use the iron to create that. Really
it's nice on a bob to do a texture like that as opposed to doing a curl, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, this is like cool girl hair.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't try too hard, but I'm amazing.
It's edgy.
Yeah.
Who
was teaching yesterday? I think, oh gosh, maybe it was Gerard from Hairbrain was teaching the French girl bob.
Yes, it was Gerard.
Yeah, and that was cute. He, you know, it had that sort of texture in there, and honestly, I wasn't. I was just watching him, so I wasn't taking notes or anything. This is super clear, and I get how to do it, so that makes me excited. I won't do it on my own hair. Don't worry, Ruth. And I have
okay. I'm so
Ruth normally
shocked.
cuts my hair for everyone that's. I know for everyone that's watching, Ruth normally cuts my hair. And every now and then I come in and I'm that person that's like, you know, like my dog, when I want to put a collar on her, she walks really slow with her head down, you know, like, so that's me. I walk really slow and I'm like, okay, she's going to notice that I cut my fringe. I think usually before I see you, I out myself on through a text message and say I've cut my own fringe.
You
Or
do. You confess.
You're that
Or
client, huh?
or she'll post
I'm a good.
you'll post it on your Instagram that you cut your bangs, and then I bust you, you know, because I know.
And then you bust me sometimes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I haven't cut it. I have cut some in here because as it got longer and my non-formal Brazilian blowout has worn off. I'm like, it's like it's got a mind of its own. It doesn't know what to do actually, and the weather here in New York is odd. I had a call with Carolyn earlier who said, "Oh yeah, you look like Chewbacca," and I'm like,
"What?
Stop it!
There's the wrong color for that. First of all,
well, she remembered me when I was blonde in Florida, and it was like they called me Chewbacca, and now it's dark. Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't colored it either. Look.
Wow. I think it looks great.
So I think that's awesome. We do have some commentary. Franz says, Ruth, I love your energy and thank you for sharing the tips. Liza says, love her. I love her too, Liza. We won't fight over her. Don't worry. There's plenty of Ruth to go around. Great additions. Stunning. The control of the eye level when you're doing the bzz, bzz is key. Absolutely. But so many hot tips. I mean, wow, you could immediately implement those when you go back, and I appreciate those. Again, if anyone on here has not yet gone to see the videos that are on the YouTube page right here at RMB, Ruth has over 20 videos, I think.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I had nothing else to do.
Right? You killed it.
You give us a couple videos and she's like, I have 24. And we're like, amazing. So thank you, Ruth, because you're always willing to be here for the industry, to help share your knowledge and your love. And you're always there. And I just, you know how much I adore and appreciate you, and really miss having coffee and hanging out at your house with Annie and 10 hours of doing my extensions.
I know. It's like forced time. I make you spend time. Sit down. You do work though the whole time, but at least we're talking here and there.
Well, I noticed that I can't work that much because I'm handing you the hair.
That's
the
true.
Last time when we realized I didn't need them anymore, we met for coffee. So we can still do that. Yeah. Or to put the color in, we've got to put more color in. Anyway, you're awesome. Everybody make sure you follow Ruth on her Instagram as well. She shares beautiful looks. And she's done hair forever. And don't miss Friday Night Live because it's amazing. It's at 8 p.m. New York time. And before we go, though, we do want to take a look at a collaboration and hear about this collaboration that Ruth did with another amazing colorist. Yes. So Ruth, why don't you tell us about what we're about to see?
Okay, so this George Garcia is the colorist on this project, but I feel like it was more of a collaboration, even with the shapes and the colors and everything of us working together. It was like two people became one, you know? And so this was a very strong collection that we entered into NAHA in different categories, and I became a finalist for Master Stylist of the Year with it. And so I'll show it to you, but George and I love the collection so much that we actually are using it as an inspiration for a class that we're doing tomorrow, the Red Can Exchange Live. That was the inspiration, but we're taking it to how can you make it salonable? How can you take those looks that you're about to see and make them work for our real clients in the salon? So that's where we're going to go with it.
Nice. Okay, so just the looks that you're going to see were done pre-COVID-19, but tomorrow on the Redken Exchange Live, please go to Ruth's page, I'm assuming, where you can swipe up to register.
Yes.
Then you can go there. I'm desperate. I am desperate. You know, I've had a goal here that because all I want, I mean, I'm not after followers. I'm not like chasing the Instagram dream, but I just want to be able to swipe up, damn it. And you can't swipe up till you get to 10,000 attendees. So I keep having to put like in bio, and then I have to change my link like 500 times depending on what I'm trying to promote.
We gotta fix that.
One day, everybody, you're going to be able to swipe up on my page. But for now, you go to Ruth Roche on Instagram at Ruth Roche. You can see her handle here. You'll be able to swipe up for this amazing class. But in the meantime, show us what we're going to learn. Can you please bring up the, there we go.
Yeah, so they were strong images, and you'll tune in and find out George's inspiration for all the color.
Wow.
So let's take a look at the rest of the collection. We called her Mullet Girl. And then this was Mermaid. And so it was like, if a mermaid had a mullet, what would it look like?
Her.
So that's kind of
I love the mermaid. It almost has a, dare I say, like an edgy Betty Page feel to it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Betty Pagey mullet combo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see the next one. Wow. This is, I think, George and I one of our favorites. There's a couple, but this one, I call her Cindy Lou Who because of her little sprout on the top. But you know, it's like a shag to the edge, you know, to the limits.
Yeah.
Let's see the next one. And then working with just a really classic shape, and the color to me is what makes this one sing. You know, it's so simple but so beautiful, and just it accents
like lit from within. You know.
Yeah.
Really
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. And that to me, like sometimes it's about just showcasing the color, you know, and not making it all about the cut and the color and the blah, blah, blah. You know, it's such a beautiful color. It just needs a simple frame, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So you're going to take these and make them salonable tomorrow. Tell us how you're going to do that.
Well, we are going to, what we did was we made all of these. They were wigs, they were wefts, they were things that we made some wigs. You know, for a photo shoot, a lot of times, as you know, and anybody who does shoots, sometimes it's just about creating the illusion. So what we've done is then taken something that isn't a haircut or a color technique because it was colored and then put together. You know, how do we take a head of hair that's existing and cut it and color it into one of those looks? So, and how do we take some of those looks that are maybe way too edgy for a regular everyday client and get inspired for something that does work for an everyday client?
Yeah.
So we're going to be going through a couple techniques each.
Amazing. Excellent, Ruth. Well, unfortunately, I never catch them live because I'm actually sitting behind my computer, as is Alfredo, on Teams meeting, trying to figure out how to help our communities as best as we can. But we do go back and check them out whenever we can.
Yes, we do.
And I know that between you and George, your hearts are so big. You're going to be just sharing so much love. And again, cannot thank you enough. Franz is so excited, loves it, and cannot wait. Is making her hungry, for tomorrow. I don't know how to translate that in a. It says this is making me hungry for tomorrow. So there's
good.
So
Franz,
there's a big high five coming at you.
Hey, I want to say, I want to have you guys on my Friday Night Live at some point. So are you game?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Good. And thank you for what you're doing for our industry. You know, I know it's a lot of work, but it's working and it's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruth. Lots of kisses. We love you.
Thank you.